Ohio's 16th congressional district sits in the northeastern part of the state, a patch of struggling farm towns and abandoned factories just south of Cleveland. Its biggest city is the old industrial town of Canton, best known as the home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Football's big in these parts, and Friday nights in autumn are all about high school rivalries playing out on the gridiron.
Let's go Hillsdale. Go Renaissance, go Hillsdale.
But this fall, there was a fierce competition taking place off the field.
We'll help you guys out. There you go, thanks.
In 2008, this district went from a Republican representative to a Democrat. Now, a Republican candidate, Jim Renaissance, was hoping to turn it back from Team Blue to Team Red.
How you doing? Jim Renaissance, running for Congress. Jim Renaissance, very nice to meet you. Oh, you earned your vote here.
Oh, you don't have my vote.
Appreciate it. Mr. Renaissance, nice to see you. Good luck on Tuesday.
Despite the small town feel, the race here is much bigger than it appears. For both national political parties and for corporations and unions, it is huge. $7 million. Beyond the handshakes and hugs on Friday nights is what you don't see until you turn on your TV. It's a television advertising tsunami. Big outside interests, far from Ohio, have been pouring in ad dollars here, tearing the candidates limb from limb.
Jim Renaissance cheated on his income taxes. Renaissance hid $13 million.
And in a twist, liberal or progressive interest groups operating outside of the candidates and either party apparatus have outspent conservatives in this corner of Ohio by 2-1, the exact opposite of the outside money trend nationwide. Ohio's 16th congressional district turned out to be the right district in the right state at the right time.
Nobody's been more subject to outside money than myself. There have been ads on TV since August, and it's all outside money coming in from the unions and everywhere else.
But Renaissance's campaign believes that the Citizens United decision firmly upholds the right to free speech. Renaissance campaign manager James Slepian.
It's a free country. You got the First Amendment, and people can say what they want. Political speech is the most protected speech that there is, and he respects the court's decision in that case.
It was about a week before Election Day, and the candidate saw all the money coming in against him as a sign that he was winning.
Outside groups can come in, they can say half-truths, but I was also told 11 or 12 months ago that when that starts occurring, that means you're winning, you're doing the right thing. You know, they want to change the subject.
It's not hard to be generous when you're up in the polls, but who are these groups working so hard to keep Renaissance out of Washington?
On the Democrat side, our opposition, it's the usual suspects. It's the big labor unions, AFSCME, SEIU. AFSCME alone has spent over $1 million against Jim Renaissance. They came in early and heavy. They came in August, so they were the first big player here. You've also got the candidate committees, the DCCC, the NRCC, have both spent over $1 million on this race.
Every day,
and they played as dirty as anywhere. One ad tied Renaissance to Iranian oil interests.
Renaissance actually opposes investing in clean energy here at home.
It was paid for by a group called the League of Conservation Voters that operates in the same murky realm of anonymous donors as a lot of the Republican outfits the Democrats have been railing against.
Say no to Jim Renaissance, the American Worker and League of Conservation Voters.
It's something the Supreme Court didn't count on, according to Yale law professor Heather Gerken.
I mean, this was Justice Kennedy's great mistake in Citizens United.
He's the one who wrote the decision.
He's the one who wrote the decision, and he said, as long as we have good disclosure rules, this is not a problem because people will be able to evaluate who's speaking. And as long as that's true, then let the marketplace of ideas just thrive as it does everywhere else. What Justice Kennedy didn't realize is that we don't actually have any means of tracing a lot of the money because the disclosure and disclaimer rules are either weak or non-existent and just incredibly easy to get around. And that means we don't know who's speaking for most of the ads that are running outside of the party's ads right now.
But Republican lawyer Ben Ginsberg points out, correctly, that despite all the hue and cry about foreign donors and dark money, absolutely nothing has changed since the last election cycle when it comes to disclosure rules. The Supreme Court ruling in the Citizens United case does not affect donor anonymity. Does this court decision make it easier for somebody to give money and never have their name attached to it?
No, it's been true. 501Cs have been using this, as I say, really since McCain-Feingold was passed and went into effect in the 2004 election. So Citizens United does not do that. The reason there's so much more activity this time is not because this wasn't happening before. What Citizens United did was give a clear psychological green light signal to conservative donors that independent expenditures were constitutionally protected. So now in 2010, with the policies of the Obama administration being so unpopular, the conservative side is energized and putting money into the process. And the liberal side are sitting on the sidelines a bit more.
But back in northern Ohio, Jim Renace's campaign manager says outside groups buying ads against his candidate have targeted this district as part of a national strategy.
Democrats are spending heavily here, as are Republicans, because this is viewed as a bellwether, and as the 16th district goes, the rest of the country goes, and that's how a lot of people view it. There's just a lot of interest in this race. There's a lot at stake here. I think that a lot of people believe that the balance of power in Washington could be determined right here in this district.
If you've got it, watch it. If you don't, call your TV provider to get HDNet today.